The rain hammered down like God's own judgment, turning the cracked sidewalk into a river of regret. I stood there, soaked to the bone, staring at Caleb's face, those sharp cheekbones I traced in secret dreams now twisted in a lie that sliced deeper than any knife. "Henry, I never meant to hurt you," he whispered, but the words dissolved in the downpour, just like the trust we'd built in stolen moments, leaving me wondering if love was ever real or just another pretty betrayal. "My name's Henry," and up until that godforsaken Tuesday in late September, I thought my life in Brooklyn was as predictable as the F-train delays. I was 28, scraping by as a graphic designer for a mid-tier ad agency in Dumbo, the kind where creative briefs came with more coffee stains than inspiration. My apartment was a shoebox in Bushwick, exposed brick, thrift store furniture, and a window that overlooked a fire escape where stray cats fought over scraps. It wasn't glamorous, but it was mine, a sanctuary from the chaos of my family back in Ohio, where my sister Ellie still lived in the shadow of our parents' expectations. Ellie was the golden child, always had been. 2 years older than me, with that effortless blonde bob and a laugh that could disarm a room. She'd escaped the Midwest the same way I did college in New York. A job in publishing that paid just enough to keep her in overpriced yoga classes and vintage dresses. But unlike me, she'd come back. Not fully, but enough to hover, to call every Sunday with updates on Mom's latest church bake sale or Dad's conspiracy theories about the government spying through smart fridges. And then there was her boyfriend, Caleb, the one who'd upend everything. It started innocently enough, like all disasters do. Ellie burst into my apartment unannounced, her arms laden with takeout from that Thai place on Bedford Avenue, green curry and spring rolls, my weakness. "Henry, emergency sister date," she announced, kicking the door shut with her heel. She looked radiant, cheeks flushed from the autumn chill, eyes sparkling with that telltale glow of new love. I knew the signs. I'd seen them on her before, with the finance bro who'd ghosted her after 6 months and the barista who'd turned out to be married. "Spill," I said, clearing a spot on my coffee table cluttered with sketches and empty beer cans. We dug in, cross-legged on the floor, the steam rising like confessions waiting to be told. "His name's Caleb," she began, her voice dropping to that conspiratorial whisper. "We met at a rooftop party in Williamsburg last month. Henry, he's different. 29, from Seattle originally, works in sustainable architecture, designs those eco-buildings that look like they grew out of the earth. And he's got this smile, like it could light up the whole damn city." I nodded, forcing enthusiasm. "Sounds perfect. When do I get to grill him?" "Soon. Actually," she paused, biting her lip. "He's moving in with me next weekend. My place in Greenpoint is bigger, and his lease is up. But the elevator's busted in his building, and he's got all this heavy stuff, bookshelves, that kind of thing. He asked if you could help. You're the strong one, remember? The one who carried the couch up 3 flights when I moved in." I laughed, but it felt hollow. Ellie had no idea about the weights I carried that no gym could touch, the ones that kept me up at night, scrolling Grindr profiles I never swiped on, wondering if I'd ever let anyone in. Gay in a family that prayed away the rainbows, in a city that preached acceptance but still whispered judgments. "Sure," I said. "For you, anything." The next Saturday dawned crisp and golden, the kind of fall day that made New York feel almost forgiving. I met Caleb at his place in Bed-Stuy, a converted warehouse loft with floor-to-ceiling windows that framed the brownstones like a painting. He answered the door in faded jeans and a Henley that hugged his frame just right, tall, maybe 6'2", with tousled dark hair and hazel eyes that crinkled when he grinned. Henry? Ellie's brother? Man, she wasn't kidding, you're a lifesaver. His handshake was firm, warm, lingering a beat too long. Or maybe that was my imagination, starved for contact. No problem, I muttered, following him inside. The space smelled like fresh coffee and sawdust. Shelves lined with architecture tomes and scale models of twisting green towers. We loaded up his truck, a beat-up Ford Ranger with Seattle plates, and hauled ass across the bridge to Greenpoint. It was grunt work, wrestling a Danish modern dresser up the stairs, cursing as a lamp base clipped my shin, sweat soaking through my tee. Caleb was all easy banter, quoting lines from old indie flicks. This is just like that scene in Swingers, right? You're so money. And I found myself laughing, really laughing, for the first time in months. By noon, we were done, collapsing on Ellie's fire escape with IPAs from the corner bodega, the city humming below us. Thanks again, he said, clinking bottles. His knee brushed mine, accidental-like, but neither of us moved. Ellie's lucky to have you. She talks about you nonstop, says you're the funny one, the artist who sees the world in colors she can't. I shrugged, heat creeping up my neck. She's biased. What's the real story with you two? How does Seattle boy end up charming my sister? He leaned back, staring at the skyline. Fate, I guess. Or bad decisions. I moved here for work, chasing this dream of building something that matters, homes that don't poison the planet. Met Ellie at that party. She was dancing like nobody was watching, all free and fierce. Reminded me of home. You know? Open skies. No bullshit. There was a shadow in his voice. Something unspoken. I wanted to press, but Ellie called from inside. Lunch was ready. Turkey clubs and kale salad, her attempt at domestic bliss. We ate around her tiny table, the three of us squeezed in, and for a moment, felt normal. Family. But as Caleb's foot nudged mine under the table, deliberate this time, my pulse spiked. Was it nothing, or was I reading maps into crumbs? That night, alone in my apartment, couldn't shake him. The way his laugh rumbled low, how his eyes held mine like a secret. I pulled up his Instagram. Ellie had tagged him in a story and scrolled through sun-drenched hikes in the Cascades, moody city shots, a few artsy nudes of concrete and steel that made my stomach twist. By midnight, I was hard and hating myself, jerking off to the phantom press of his knee, whispering his name like a prayer I didn't deserve. The weeks blurred into a rhythm. Ellie dragged me to dinners, brunches, that annual Halloween bash in the village where she went as Frida Kahlo and Caleb as Diego Rivera, complete with fake mustache and a beret that made him look ridiculous and hot. I played third wheel, the reliable brother, cracking jokes to mask the ache. But Caleb, he sought me out. Texts about design inspo. Saw this brutalist building. Reminds me of your sketches. Late night calls when Ellie was buried in deadlines. Can't sleep. Tell me about Ohio winters. Innocent, right? Harmless bridges between friends. Until the night it wasn't. It was mid-October, leaves turning the parks into fire. Ellie was out of town for a conference in Chicago, some lit mag schmooze fest. Caleb showed up at my door around 9, rain-slicked and sheepish, holding a six-pack and a pizza box. Ellie said you make a mean garlic knots. But I figured this is close enough. Mind if I crash your solitude? My place is a war zone, leaky roof from the storm. I let him in, heart hammering like a bass drum. We sprawled on my couch, devouring pepperoni and debating Scorsese versus Tarantino, the beer loosening our tongues. By the third slice, the conversation dipped deeper. His parents' divorce when he was 12, the foster homes that followed, how architecture was his anchor, building stability from blueprints. "What about you?" he asked, voice soft in the lamplight. "Ellie says you're holding back. Like there's a whole world inside you nobody's cracked open." I froze, fork midway to my mouth. The air thickened, charged like the storm outside. "It's complicated," I said finally. "Family stuff. Expectations. You know how it is." He nodded, too quick, like he knew exactly. His hand landed on my knee, light, testing. "Yeah. I do." Time stretched, elastic. I could pull away, laugh it off. But I didn't. Instead, I covered his hand with mine, the warmth searing. Our eyes locked, and in that gaze, I saw it, the mirror of my hunger, my fear. Caleb leaned in first, slow, giving me an out. I took it anyway, crashing into him like a wave breaking. His lips were soft, tasting of salt and IPA, urgent but tender. We kissed like men starved, hands roaming, mine in his hair, his under my shirt, tracing ribs like braille. The couch creaked as we shifted, bodies aligning in a frenzy of need. Clothes hit the floor in a trail to my bedroom, where he pinned me gently against the wall, whispering, "Tell me if it's too much." It wasn't. God, it was everything. We moved to the bed, exploring with the reverence of first times, his mouth on my neck, my fingers digging into his back, gasps echoing off the brick. When he entered me, slow and sure, it was like coming home to a place I'd never known. We came undone together, sweat slick and shuddering, collapsing in a tangle of limbs and laughter. After, lying there with his head on my chest, he murmured, "I've wanted this since the first day. With you, not her." The words hung, a guillotine. Ellie. My sister. The betrayal bloomed cold in my gut, but his arms around me felt like absolution. "What now?" I whispered. He kissed my collarbone. "We figure it out. Together. Lies taste sweetest in the afterglow." I believed him. What a fool. The affair ignited like dry tinder in a drought. Fierce, consuming, impossible to contain. For the next 2 weeks, Caleb and I stole moments like thieves in the night. Mornings before Ellie woke, he'd slip into my bed via the alley fire escape, our bodies greeting the dawn with muffled urgency. Afternoons in coffee shops off the beaten path, knees touching under tables as we sketched ideas on napkins. His buildings intertwined with my abstract swirls, a metaphor for us. Evenings when she worked late, we'd meet at dive bars in Red Hook, nursing whiskeys and trading stories that peeled back layers. My first crush on the high school quarterback. His fumbling experiments with a college roommate that ended in awkward silence. It was romance wrapped in recklessness, every touch laced with the thrill of the forbidden. Caleb had this way of looking at me, like I was the blueprint to his soul, flawed lines and all. "You're my North Star, Henry," he'd say, fingers laced with mine as we walked the High Line at dusk, the Hudson glittering below. "Ellie." She's great, but she's not you. This feels real. I'd melt into him, ignoring the gnawing guilt. Ellie was happy, beaming in her texts from work, posting couple selfies with captions like, "Living my best life, 2 hearts. How could I shatter that?" She deserved joy after the string of losers who'd treated her like an afterthought. And me? I'd spent years invisible, my queerness a shadow I buried under sarcasm and solitude. Caleb saw me, truly saw me. For the first time, I felt alive, electric. But cracks formed early, subtle as hairline fractures in glass. One night, postcoital haze in my sheets, he got a call from her, something about a forgotten anniversary gift for her boss. His voice shifted. "All easy, charm. Babe, I've got it covered. Pick you up at 7? He hung up, rolled back to me with a sigh. "She's clingy tonight. Thinks I'm dodging." "You're not," I said, tracing his jaw. But doubt flickered. Was this balance sustainable? A tightrope over an abyss. He pulled me close. "Hey, we're good." I told her I'm seeing things clearly now. With us. The word was a lifeline. That weekend, Ellie threw a harvest party at her place. Pumpkin ale, fairy lights strung across the exposed beams, a playlist of Fleetwood Mac and Hozier that had everyone swaying. I arrived fashionably late, nursing a flask of bourbon to dull the edges. The loft buzzed with her publishing crowd. Editors in chunky knits, writers with ironic mustaches, a few artsy types who eyed my portfolio sketches with genuine interest. Caleb cornered me in the kitchen, amid the clatter of corks popping and laughter spilling from the living room. "Missed you," he breathed, backing me against the fridge, his hand slipping to my waistband for a stolen grope. Heat flared instant, but voices neared. Ellie's friend Mia, chattering about deadlines. Later, I hissed, disentangling. We rejoined the party, him slipping an arm around her waist, me chatting up a stranger about vector art. It was a performance, Oscar-worthy. But midway through, as I nursed a cider by the window, I caught them dancing slow, intimate, her head on his shoulder. Jealousy twisted sharp, irrational. He was mine in the dark hours. What right did I have to the daylight? Ellie found me there, cheeks rosy from wine. "You okay, little bro? You've been quiet." I forced a grin. "Just people watching. Your party's a hit." She hugged me sideways, smelling of vanilla and Merlot. "Caleb adores you, you know. Says you're like the brother he never had." The words landed like a gut punch. Brother. I swallowed bile, nodding. Yeah. Lucky him. That night, alone again, the high crashed. I scrolled our texts. His "can't wait to taste you" from yesterday clashing with tonight's facade. Was I the side piece? The experiment? By dawn, resolve hardened. We needed to talk, to end the charade before it devoured us. Monday, I cornered him at his office in Soho, a glass-fronted studio humming with 3D printers and caffeine-fueled architects. He looked up from his drafting table, surprise melting into that killer smile. "Henry, to what do I owe?" "Shut the door," I said, voice steady despite the tremor in my chest. He did, leaning against it with arms crossed, expectant. "We can't keep doing this." The words tumbled out. "Ellie's my sister. Your girlfriend. Every time I see you two together, it rips me apart. And the lying? It's poison." His face fell, shadows under his eyes from late nights we both cherished. I know. God, I know. But walking away, I can't. Not from you. He crossed the room in 2 strides, cupping my face. Give me time. I'll tell her. Just don't bail yet. Please. His plea cracked me open. I kissed him fierce, desperate, a collision of fear and fire. We fucked right there on the desk, papers scattering like confetti, his moans muffled against my neck. It was cathartic, a vow sealed in sweat. 2 weeks, I gasped as we caught our breath. Tell her, or we're done. Deal, he promised, eyes fierce. I love you, Henry, love. The word hung, terrifying and true. I echoed it back, tasting freedom on my tongue. But love's a blindfold, and betrayal waits in the wings. The following days were a fever dream. We amped up the secrecy, encrypted apps for flirty memes, quickies in Central Park bathrooms that left us giggling and guilty. Ellie noticed nothing, too wrapped in a big book launch. I threw myself into work, landing a freelance gig for a queer mag cover, ironic, vibrant lines of intertwined figures that mirrored my turmoil. Then, the bomb dropped. It was a Thursday, gray skies threatening snow too early. I was at my desk, tweaking fonts, when my phone buzzed. Ellie. Emergency. My place. Now. Dread pooled cold. I raced over, the subway a blur. She met me at the door, eyes red-rimmed, face stripped of makeup, vulnerable, broken. He's cheating, she choked out, thrusting a phone at me. Screenshots. Texts from Caleb to an unknown number. Missed our run last night. Come over instead. Heart emojis. Inside jokes about that spot by the bridge. My blood turned to ice. The number, was it mine? No. The timestamps didn't match. Relief warred with horror as she scrolled further. More messages. Explicit. Can't stop thinking about your hands. A photo. Blurred but unmistakable, muscular torso. That tattoo of a compass rose on his ribs. Caleb's. Who? I managed. Voice a croak. She collapsed onto the couch, sobbing. Doesn't matter. Some guy from his gym, I think. I hacked his phone. God. Henry. How did I not see it? Because he's a master of masks. I thought, while rising. But aloud, I'm so sorry. What do you need? Just stay. Drink with me. We did vodka tonics that burned going down, her spilling grief in waves. He was bi. She'd suspected once, but he swore it was ancient history. I thought we were building something real, she whispered. A future. Guilt clawed me raw. I was the other man, the one who'd stolen her future. You deserve better, I said, meaning it. And you'll find it, she nodded, wiping tears. Promise you'll help me through this? You're all I have, all she had. The irony choked me. By midnight, she passed out on the couch. I tucked a blanket over her, slipping out like a ghost. Caleb's text lit my screen as I hit the street. Date night with E. Wish it was you. Red heart. Rage ignited. I hailed a cab to his place, pounding on the door until he yanked it open, rumpled in sweats. Henry? What's? You lying sack of shit. I shoved past, slamming the door. Ellie knows. About your gym buddy. Or whoever the hell it is. His face drained of color. What? How? Doesn't matter. But us? This ends now. I jabbed a finger at his chest. Tears hot. You said 2 weeks. You said you loved me. I do. He grabbed my arms. Desperate. The texts, they're old. Before us. I swear. Henry, I've been clean. Trying to figure out how to leave her without. Without what? Destroying her. I wrenched free. You used me. Made me complicit. I'm done. He sank to his knees, clutching my shirt. Please. Don't. You're everything. But the door clicked shut behind me, the rain starting again. Love's echo mocked me in the downpour. November slunk in like a hangover, chilly winds stripping the last defiant leaves from the trees, mirroring the barren ache in my chest. I ghosted Caleb cold, blocked his number, deleted the app, even avoided the coffee shop where we'd shared our first illicit latte. Ellie leaned on me hard those first days, her pain a mirror to my own, though hers was pure, untainted by hypocrisy. We binged old rom-coms in her loft, me stocking her fridge with Ben and Jerry's, her forcing me to rate guys on Hinge profiles she downloaded in a vengeful haze. He's a prick, she'd declare, swiping left on a beardy hipster. But you? Your prime real estate, Henry. When's the last time you dated? I shrugged, evading. Work's crazy. Truth was, the freelance gig had ballooned. A full spread for the mag. Illustrations of queer icons reimagined in neon Gotham. Kept my hands busy, mind semi-occupied. But nights, they were war zones. I'd lie awake, replaying his touch, the curve of his smile, cursing the fool who'd believed in forever after a handful of hookups. Ellie healed in fits and starts. By mid-month, she was back at the gym, yoga, not the one where she'd stalked his classes, and dating casually, an editor from her office with a penchant for bad poetry. It's nothing serious, she'd say, but her eyes sparkled again, cautious hope flickering. Me? I threw myself into the queer scene. Tentative steps. A drag brunch in the East Village, where glitter-flecked queens roasted my straight-passing vibe, and a poetry slam in the Bowery that left me raw with verses on unrequited longing. One night, buzzed on gin at a leather bar in Hell's Kitchen, walls lined with harnesses, air thick with musk and bass, I hooked up with a guy named Theo. Tall, tattooed, a bartender with a lip ring and zero expectations. It was mechanical, efficient, hands in the dark, release without revelation. As he zipped up, smirking, that hit the spot. I nodded, but inside, hollow. Caleb had ruined me for casual. Or maybe awakened me to wanting more. Thanksgiving loomed. A family summons back to Ohio that Ellie begged off, too soon for turkey with ex-drama, leaving me to face it solo. The flight to Cleveland was turbulent, mirroring my mood, and the drive to our childhood home in that sleepy suburb felt like time travel. Mom greeted me with hugs and pie, Dad with gruff pats and questions about that New York hustle. Ellie called midway through the meal, her voice bright over the line. Tell Mom her stuffing's legendary. Miss you, bro. Miss you more. It was true. She was my anchor. Even as guilt gnawed, had I accelerated her heartbreak? Pushed Caleb into carelessness? That night, in my old room with its faded baseball posters, I cracked open a bottle of bourbon smuggled in my bag. The house creaked around me, ghosts of boyhood whispering. I'd come out to them years ago, post-college, a stilted dinner where Mom cried into her napkin and Dad muttered about lifestyle choices. They'd come around, sort of Christmas cards with rainbow ornaments now, but the undercurrent lingered, polite chill. Pouring a second glass, I scrolled old photos. Me and Ellie at prom, her in taffeta, me in a rented tux, us at Coney Island, cotton candy sticks like swords. A knock startled me. Dad, in his flannel robe, holding a mug of cocoa. "Can't sleep?" he rumbled, settling on the bed's edge. "Jet lag," I lied. He sipped, staring at the floor. "Your sister's been through the ringer. That boy, Caleb. Sounds like a real piece of work." I stiffened. "Yeah. She'll bounce back." He nodded slow. "Life's full of those. People who promise the moon and deliver mud. But you hang in there for her. That's what family's for." His words landed heavy, a rare vulnerability from the man who'd taught me to throw a curveball. "Thanks, Dad." We sat in silence, the kind that mends without words. For the first time, I wondered if he got it, the quiet ways we protect each other. Back in Brooklyn, the city felt alien, his pulse too frantic. Work deadlines loomed, but inspiration stalled. My sketches turned jagged, thorns where curves should be. Then, a curveball of my own, an email from Caleb. Not a text, bolder, desperate. "I know you blocked me, but read this. Please. For us. Against better judgment." I clicked. A letter, pages long. Apologies woven with memories, the rain on the fire escape, our whispered philosophies under starless skies. "I panicked when Ellie confronted me," he wrote. "Told her it was the gym guy, an old fling, to buy time. But it was you, always you." I ended it with her that night. Clean break. I'm in therapy, unpacking the mess I made. Henry, I love you. Give me a chance to prove it. Tears blurred the screen. Part of me, the starved, hopeful part, yearned to reply. But betrayal's scar throbbed. Ellie's sobs, the lies he'd spun like spider silk. I deleted it, but sleep evaded, his words looping like a bad remix. December dusted the streets in snow, turning Manhattan into a postcard of twinkling lights and bundled strangers. Ellie threw a rebirth party. Ugly sweaters, spiked eggnog, a playlist of empowerment anthems. I arrived early to help string garlands, her loft transformed into a winter wonderland. "Look at you, domestic king," she teased, bumping my hip. As guests trickled in, friends, colleagues, a cute illustrator named Jax who flirted shamelessly over mulled wine. I played host, charming and detached. But midway, the door buzzed. Caleb. He stood there in a peacoat dusted with flakes, eyes searching mine amid the crowd. Ellie froze across the room, glass slipping from her fingers to shatter on the hardwood. Silence crashed like the wave. "What the hell?" she hissed, storming over. "You have nerve showing up here." "I came to apologize," he said, voice steady but eyes pleading, "with her. With me. To both of you." "Ellie, I was a coward. Lied to protect myself. Not you. I'm sorry for everything." She laughed bitter, tears welling. "Protect yourself? From what? Loving someone else. Get out." But he didn't move, gaze flicking to me. "Henry. I meant what I wrote." The room held its breath, whispers rippling. Jax raised a brow. Mia crossed her arms. My throat tightened, fury, longing, shame colliding. You don't get to do this, I said low, stepping forward. Not here. Not like this. Ellie's hand gripped my arm, nails digging. He's using you to hurt me more? Is that it? No. Caleb's voice cracked. It's not. Out, she yelled, shoving him toward the door. He stumbled, coat catching, eyes locked on mine, desolate, broken. Then he was gone, swallowed by the night. The party limped on, forced cheer masking the fracture. Ellie downed shots. Ranting to Mia, I excused myself to the balcony, snowflakes melting on my lashes. Jax followed, tentative. Heavy night. Huh? Want company? I shook my head. Rain check. He nodded. Wise. Alone. I stared at the city lights. Caleb's face burned in memory. Love wasn't a straight line. It zigzagged, treacherous. But walking away, that felt like amputation. 2 days later, package arrived, no sender, but I knew. Inside, a sketchbook, my style, interlocking structures of steel and heart lines, captioned our blueprint. A note. Build with me? See. I traced the lines, pulse racing. Forgiveness tempted, a siren's call. But trust? Shattered glass doesn't mend seamless. The holidays blurred into a haze of obligation and evasion. Office parties where I nursed ginger Alesh and dodged mistletoe. Family Zoom calls with Ellie beaming from her couch. Newly single and fiercely independent. New year. New me. She'd text. Emojis of phoenixes and cocktails. Me? I was a ghost in my own skin, haunting the edges of what could have been. Caleb's sketchbook sat on my nightstand, unopened after that first flip, a Pandora's box of what-ifs. January bit hard, polar vortex gripping the city. Subways delayed, my freelance deadline whooshing past in a panic of all-nighters. The mag spread launched to acclaim. Henry's vivid strokes capture the pulse of queer resilience. The editor gushed in an email. Sales spiked. My inbox flooded with inquiries. Success should have elated, but it rang hollow, echoes without him. Then, fate or masochism intervened. A networking event at a gallery in Chelsea. Sustainable design showcase. Caleb's firm headlining. I knew he'd be there. The invite had landed weeks ago, deleted then undelete in weak moments. Go, Ellie urged when I confessed over foe in Chinatown. Own your space. He's not the son. Henry. Her absolution weighed heavy. She'd pieced it together post-party. The texts aligning with our bro time. No blowout. Just quiet talks over tea. I should have seen the spark. But don't let him dim yours. Sister love. Fierce and forgiving. Freed me. Somewhat. The gallery hummed. White walls splashed with holographic models of verdant skyscrapers. Champagne flutes clinking amid murmured critiques. I wore my best. Slim black jeans. A button-down in deep indigo that hugged my shoulders. Hair styled just so. Confidence armor. I spotted him across the room. Mid-pitch to a cluster of suits charismatic. Alive. That Henley swapped for a tailored blazer. Our eyes met over a floating orb of recycled plastic. He faltered, words trailing. The group dispersed, he wove through, inevitable as gravity. Henry, his voice was gravel, laced with longing. Close. Shadows bruised his eyes. Sleepless nights. I guessed. Caleb, neutral. A wall. You came. Hope flickered. Fragile. Work. The air crackled. unfinished symphonies. He nodded, swallowing. The spread, it's brilliant. Saw it in the Times. Proud of you. Thanks. Awkward beat. A server passed. We grabbed flutes, sipping to fill silence. I miss you, he blurted. Low. Every damn day. Therapy's kicking my ass, unpacking the why of the lies. Fear, mostly, of losing control. But losing you? Worse. I set the glass down, glass chiming soft. You didn't lose me. You threw me away. Used my sister's heart like collateral. He winced. Deserved. I know. And I'll spend life making amends to her, to you. If you'll let me. The plea tugged. Treacherous. Around us, laughter swelled. A model word to life. Vines unfurling in pixels. I can't, I said, stepping back. Not yet. Maybe not ever. His hand brushed mine, electric. A spark. Fair. But I'm here. Doors open. I fled into the night. Cab fumes and regret my companions. Home. I cracked the sketchbook. Pages spilling secrets. Our spots mapped. Fire escape. Highline. That red hook pier. Last page. Blank. Penciled, your turn. Temptation nod. I sketched. A lone figure amid ruins. Rebuilding with light. Sent it anonymous. Olive branch or grenade. Spring teased early, crocuses pushing through concrete. Farmers' markets blooming with rhubarb and hope. Ellie landed a promotion, treating us to dim some celebrations. Jax became a friend with perks. Easy laughs over bad movies. No strings to snag. But Caleb lingered. A low hum. A coffee left at my door. No expectations. A like on my Insta story from afar. The climax brewed on a balmy April evening. Ellie's birthday bash at a rooftop in Williamsburg. Skyline aglow with dusk pinks. She'd invited half the city. Gone full ethereal in a white sundress. Wildflowers in her hair. I arrived with a custom cake. Layered vanilla with rainbow frosting. Inside joke nod. The party pulsed. String lights. Tacos from a truck. A DJ spinning indie soul. Midway, as I chatted with Jax about his latest tattoo, a phoenix on his forearm. 4 rebirths. Ellie pulled me aside. Gift time. But first, truce. She nodded to the bar, where Caleb stood. Tray of drinks in hand, volunteer help. Uninvited but tolerated. I told him he could come. For closure. Or whatever. You okay? Stunned. I nodded. Yeah. Thanks. He approached tentative, offering a mojito. Peace offering? I took it. Lime sharp. Ellie green lighted this? Surprised me too. Said we all deserve second acts. His eyes searched. Vulnerable. Dance with me? One song. The DJ shifted to something slow, Bon Iver. Aching harmonies. Against sanity, I let him lead to the floor. Bodies close but not touching. A waltz of ghosts. I've been patient, he murmured, breath warm on my ear. But I need to know, can we try? Real this time. No shadows. Heart thundered. Ellie's gaze from afar, watchful, but soft. Jax raised a glass. Thumbs up. The city sprawled below. Infinite possibilities. I want to, I admitted. But trust rebuilds slow. Start with coffee, no strings. His grin bloomed. Sunrise after storm. Coffee. Tomorrow, we parted as the song faded. a tentative bridge. But betrayal's shadow loomed, unbanished. Weeks unfolded gentle. Coffees evolving to walks in Prospect Park. Cherry blossoms shedding like confetti. Caleb opened up, therapy transcripts shared. Vulnerabilities bared. I'm bi. Fully. He confessed one afternoon on a bench. Ducks quacking approval. But labels don't define us. You do. Ellie approved. Cautious. He's trying. Watch your heart. Dates with her interspersed. Sister nights of manipitas and margaritas. Her dating a poet who quoted E. Cummings unironically. Yet doubt festered. Late May. A work trip to Seattle, Caleb's old haunt. Pitching eco-designs. He invited me along. See my roots. Meet my world. I went. Airplane nerves soothed by his hand in mine. The city enchanted, space needle-piercing fog. Markets teeming with salmon and tulips. Ferries slicing Puget Sound. We hiked Discovery Park at dawn. Salt air crisp. His stories of boyhood foster homes painting him in tender strokes. That night, in a B&B overlooking the water, passion reignited, slow, worshipful, bodies mapping familiar territories with new reverence. I love you, he gasped, peaks cresting. Forever, echoed back, felt true. Until morning. My phone buzzed, Ellie. Panicked voice. Henry? Call me. Now. Voicemail. Found something. Caleb's email. Old flames. Post-breakup. He's been talking to them. While with you. World tilted. I confronted him over fairy coffee. Printouts thrust like evidence. Explain. He paled. Scanning. Flirting. Stupid. Lonely nights before us solidified. Nothing physical. I swear. Lies again. Rage boiled. Patterns don't break easy. Caleb. It's not. He reached, I recoiled. Ferry docked. I bolted. Airport bound alone. Flight home. Tears in the lavatory. Grief's fresh wound. Betrayal's encore. Sharper for the hope. June sweltered. Humidity clinging like unspoken accusations. Back in Brooklyn. I armored up. Gym sessions till muscles screamed. Brunches with Jax turning flirty. Ellie hovering with ice cream and interventions. Dump the drama, she'd say, spooning chunks. You're worth the steady kind of love. She was right. Caleb's texts pleaded, let me fix this. But I archived them. A digital grave. Work surged. A solo exhibit offer for fall. Queer themes amplified. I poured pain into canvas. Abstracts of fractured lines reforming. Titled Reclamation. Critics buzzed pre-buzz. It felt like Phoenix fire. Yet loss echoed. Random spots triggered him. A brutalist facade evoking his sketches. A rainy cab ride blurring memories. One midnight. Buzzed on rooftop wine with friends. I cracked. Dialed his number. Unblocked in weakness. Voicemail. It's me. Not ready. Maybe never. Heal yourself first. Cathartic. A door swung shut. Summer peaked in firework bursts. 4th of July on the East River. Ellie's crowd spilling onto blankets with sparklers and sangria. Jax and I kissed under booms. Tentative sparks. But my mind wandered to hazel eyes. Progress. Not perfection. August brought clarity. Caleb resurfaced, not digitally, but in person. At my exhibit opening, a converted warehouse in Bushwick pulsing with bodies and bass. He'd bought a ticket, Anonymous until he approached the bar. Suit sharp, expression humbled. Stunning, he said, gesturing to the walls. My pieces glowing under spots. Reds and blues bleeding emotion. You turned hurt into art. Always knew you would. Thanks. Civil. Tightrope. I came to say goodbye. For real. He handed an envelope, thick, sealed. No expectations. Just closure. I nodded, pocketing it. Take care, Caleb. You too. His hand lingered on mine. A final pulse. Then he melted into the crowd. Gone. The night soared. Ellie toasting to Henry. The heart of us. Jax pulling me for a slow dance amid admirers. Later, alone with the envelope, letters from his therapists, accountability logs, a final note. I broke us because I was broken. You've mended me from afar. If paths cross again, I'll be better. Love always. See, tears fell, but cleansing. Forgiveness bloomed, not for him, but me. Human frailty, we err, we rise. Fall gilded the leaves. Ellie met someone solid, a teacher with kind eyes and bad puns. We double dated, laughs easy. Jax evolved to boyfriend, steady as the tides. Shared Sundays sketching in bed. Trips to the Berkshires where we hiked and hashed dreams. One crisp November eve, anniversary of that first rain kiss, I walked the Brooklyn streets alone, collar up against the chill. A figure under a street lamp. Caleb, coat familiar, hands in pockets. Henry, soft, no claim. Hey, neutral ground. Exhibit was a hit. Saw the review. A triumph of vulnerability. Yeah. Pause. You look good. Clean. 6 months solid. Pride edged his voice. Seeing someone? Good for you. Jax. Real. He smiled. Genuine. Deserve that. Silence. Companionable. Ellie's happy too, I added. With Mark. Domestic bliss incoming. Relief washed him. Good. She was always the strong one. We stood. City breathing around us, horns, laughter, life unending. No regrets, he asked. Tons. But they built me. I extended a hand. Friends. He clasped it. Warm. Someday. When it fits. He walked away, silhouette fading into the glow. I lingered. Rain starting light, not judgment, but renewal. Love's not a straight path. It's detours, dead ends, discoveries. Betrayal scarred, but healed stronger. Human, we falter. We love fierce. We persist. And in that persistence, grace. Months later, at Ellie's wedding small, beachside in Jersey, Mark in linen, her in lace, I stood best man, toasting there forever. Jax beside me, hand in mine. Caleb sent a card, to new beginnings. Yours truly, I tucked it away, chapter closed. The ocean roared approval, waves whispering truths. We're all just stories, unfinished, beautifully flawed. And in the telling, we find our way home.